welcome to Brave Talks. My name is Manny Dominguez, and I'm here with my gorgeous wife,
Marlene Dominguez.
And how are you doing today?
You know, I'm having some contractions, but we're going to push through.
I are having contractions, but we're going to push through.
Yes. No.
No?
We're pushing through.
Right. Because typically people push.
To give birth.
Come on.
I'm not finna do that on camera, but I am having contractions and we're pushing through.
Yeah, if you're watching Brave Talks and not listening, who knows? We may get a surprise today.
Enough.
So you feeling good? You look so good, though.
Thank you. I feel good.
Okay, you feel good?
I feel good. It's just, yeah, you're going to see me probably take a few deep breaths because I'm officially at the finish line. So just having some contractions while
How does it feel to grow a person inside of you?
You can't tell me nothing. Like I'm Superwoman, to be honest.
Like you feel like invincible?
No, for sure.
That's
like
incredible.
women are amazing and pretty powerful and
amazing.
are incredible. So you can tell me nothing.
Let's go.
How are you
Confident
feeling?
queen.
I think you're city today.
I feel silly today.
Yeah.
That's the right. You're picking up on that. I feel silly. I feel good. It's cold here where we are.
It's brick, actually.
It is brick, yes, today. And so I just want to like cuddle up with you and our kids, I guess.
and our kids with hot chocolate.
Like drink. I don't really love hot chocolate, but like hot tea, maybe a little chai vibe, and just like watch a good film.
Un cafecito. Bien chulo.
Yeah, so maybe later today that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, talking about what we do, today we're talking about conflict. And okay, when you hear the word conflict, what comes to mind? Don't overthink it.
Put them up.
Okay.
Put them up. What's up?
Okay.
I'm holding a fist for those who can't see, but
Put them up. Put them up.
put them up. Put them up.
Okay. For me, I think what surfaces right away is fighting.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. I try to change it, and I'm like, no, I think that's the first thing that like,
Right.
como que me sube, like fight.
Right.
You know, like lack of peace, conflict. We got to talk about it because everybody experiences it, whether
Right.
they do it willingly, like they're confrontational, or they do it unwillingly, they're more passive and averse to conflict.
There's different levels to it for sure.
For sure, and different facets to it, but everyone experiences conflict. And so I think for our listeners, honey, I want to ask you, are you conflict averse naturally? Are you confrontational naturally? Tell me about that. Like, what is your lean with conflict?
That's a great question.
I know what your lean is.
You know what? Tell me. What you think my lean is?
I want you to tell me.
Well, my lean has changed drastically throughout the years.
Ding, 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 ding.
So
Ding,
I
ding,
used to be
Ding, ding.
silly man today. I used to avoid conflict to the death of me, like at all costs. But the problem with avoiding conflict is that avoiding it, because I avoided it so much, it became a confrontational conversation when I actually needed to address something with someone because I'm Latina and I'm really spicy. So when it came to talking about it, instead of like having a good conversation about something that hurt me, it can come off so intense and aggressive. So
Because it was built up and pent up for longer because you were avoiding it for so long.
yeah, so I was never taught how to handle conflict. And that's something I do want to get into in this episode because I think when you're taught how, or when you're modeled and just taught in general how to handle it, you can obviously learn and grow and develop. But I grew up in a very minimal confrontational home. Like it was just very passive. You can feel
the tension,
you
cut that
can,
thing with the
yeah,
knife.
you like can walk on like ice trying to talk to people, and
Real
it's the
eggshells.
worst. It was the worst.
Oh, this is so good. Okay, this is good. You started preaching that for a second, then you brought it back to like your experience. I think that's true. I've known you over a decade, which is crazy. Like we met in 2012. No, 2011.
forget at this point.
2011 because we started dating in 2013 at the end of the year. So we've known each other 14 years.
Cool.
And have been really close, you know, for like 12 of those years in friendship and then romantic relationships. So I have seen you go from conflict averse and like pent up and then blow up in a moment of like deep conflict. to becoming somebody that's like having the hard conversation, doing it like regularly, often. And I think that's
honoring
good.
communication,
Exactly.
which is so important.
So you listening, watching, when you think about conflict, what comes to mind? Is it put them up like Mar? Is it fighting like me? Is it like a negative feeling and emotion? What we want to get to is the fact that conflict will affect everyone, no matter who you are, no matter if it's romantic relationship, like a marriage, like us, parent to child, brother, sister, friendship,
Relationships, just
any
in general.
relationship dynamic at the workplace. We are flawed people that need friction to grow.
Yeah.
That's just the fact that we're not robots.
Right.
And even robots crash. Think about that. That's a whole, hey, that'll preach. That's a whole nother segue.
Where do you lean for
I'm
conflict?
definitely more confrontational.
Yeah.
I wasn't overtly taught conflict and like fighting fair and communication. Like no one sat me down and taught me and explained it to me. And man, my mom did her absolute best. But when you're mom and dad and provider and nurturer, you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it was outside of the home over time in my like formative teenage years that I just saw what I didn't want to be, and then saw what I did want to be in just people outside of my home that I'm like, oh, I feel like there's better fruit when you go approach somebody pretty quickly in love and have the hard conversation. Like I feel like there was more fruit there than avoiding it, pretending like nothing's, wrong, hoping that it'll just work out on its own, assuming, which when you assume doesn't really work out for anybody. And then to your point, seeing it blow up because they've pent it in for so long. And then the justice that you feel, not you, I want you to share, but I would imagine that when you hold something in for so long because you don't want to have the conflict.
Well, think about it. Have you ever gone through something like that where you hold it in? Like put yourself in that situation?
Yeah, I can't think of a time that I held in something for me, a long time, because I'm so confrontational, would be like 2-3 days.
In our marriage, think about it.
Yeah. Even in our marriage, I'm like, something that you would do that I'm like, oh, like I don't
want to hurt her feelings.
I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I want her to know how it makes me feel. But so I think a long time for me would be like a few days, and then I'll try to tell you.
And then it's not good.
And then when I tell you after a week, it's because maybe you did that thing again, however little it was, that I'm like, oh.
You're right. Well, you've never raised your voice at me. Let's say that.
In my inner man.
Yeah.
Adentro, como por dentro, en la alma, inside you feel, oh, it may come out like, babe, ta 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 ta.
Yeah.
But in the inside you feel. So my question
it's like a tug.
Is when we hold stuff in for a few days, weeks, months, whatever, when it finally comes out, don't you feel like justified? It's almost like I did you the favor by holding this in for 10 months. Now you're going to get it. So now I don't feel bad about bursting out, even if I'm not screaming, but I'm still giving it all. Do you ever feel that way? Because I have.
You know what's crazy? I am actually an overthinker by nature, and I'm exhausted at the point where I'm going to communicate. Like I've been holding it in so much and kind of creating all these scenarios in my head that by the time I'm going to communicate, I don't think I burst. I mean, I have, but I'm so exhausted. My brain is tired. My brain is fried. So instead of having a healthy conversation back and forth, I don't think I can handle it. Like, I don't think I can sit there and have an intellectual conversation that makes sense because I've like questioned and played out every single scenario in my mind. And at this point, I'm tired.
Wow.
So no, it never works out. I mean, I don't ever remember a time. Obviously, the Bible talks about wisdom in the tongue and being able to think before you speak. I'm not talking about like reserving because there's a time and place. And also you can't be hashing it out with everybody you meet and disagree with. Like there's wisdom in that. However, when it comes to communicating and having that power in the tongue, there's so much beauty in that. And honestly, I didn't really learn that until I met you and married you because our dynamic was
just a hot rod, aren't I?
Yeah, that part. But that part, you are. I mean, you're great. I love you. But it was hard for us in the beginning. And I know I'm kind of we have some like notes that we want to talk about. But like, it was really difficult because I really didn't know how to communicate. And I thought I did, but I actually didn't.
you knew how to communicate. This is what we're talking about. It's communicating while under pressure or while experiencing pain.
My goodness.
In a moment of conflict is a whole different skill.
Yeah.
So you always know how to communicate. Masterful in the way you speak, the way you communicate feelings. You've always been amazing at that, even in our friendship. But yeah, I think when we entered moments of conflict in our marriage and in any situation really, it's like a whole nother tier. It's almost like you use a whole nother part of your brain in order to be able to communicate through intensity.
Well, let's talk about the beginning.
Okay.
And how we was through conflict.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about fast forward now.
Yeah.
Because we can't talk about anything else, right? We could talk about our experience.
Yeah. No, yeah. We're not professionals. We could just speak about, we can have the brave talk ourselves. Hopefully they do the same. So at first, yeah, we would just, we're both leaders, headstrong, stubborn. And let's be honest, this is true for everybody. Everyone wants other people to be like them.
Yeah.
I like me. You like you. Why don't you just be like me? We probably won't say that overtly, but our actions do. It's like, hey, but just do it this way because this is good. And
I've been doing this forever. Might as well just do it.
And that's the tension of relationships.
Right.
I've been with myself for so long, and now that we have entered in relationship, friends, romantic partners, whatever. And now we're doing stuff together, perhaps.
And now you're my mirror. You're literally my mirror looking back at me, and I'm looking back at you. Yeah. And it's just like, I
didn't see that before.
I didn't see that before, especially in intimacy and just everything.
Yeah. So at first, we would kind of just go at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would go at it, battle it out. Try to win the moment.
Fair. You hated that word fair. I'm like, that's not fair.
I'm like, what is fairness? Life isn't fair.
Can you stop talking like that? You've never raised your voice at me.
I'm not raising my voice. This is just like me. This is my inner gladiator.
I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? Even now, I'm like, I'm getting offended. Don't be talking to me like that.
Life isn't fair.
Yeah. No, I would be the hot box. Yeah. I would literally be the one that what is that? Not anger from inside out, but it would it's just a fuming. For me, so I would want to say this before we continue talking about in the beginning. I also had we both did, but I had a ton of baggage when it comes to conflict, right? For example, if you were ever to raise your voice at me, that's an immediate crying sesh. You do not raise it.
You'll shut down.
I'll shut down and forget about it. We're not talking about it because I was, exposed to that really young. So here I am married to the man that I love who is not perfect and is going to fail me, is flawed. But the moment that happens, it's kind of like my guards just become up. So in the first year of our marriage, almost a year and a half-ish, it was kind of like breaking down guards that I didn't really think were there.
That's good.
Because I loved you and I trusted you, but I think over time it was exposing so much because you became my mirror.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you trying to play me? What's going on?
That's so good.
And I'm like, I see you getting defensive when I never witnessed a defense from you.
That's
it was
so
just
good. And I think
we had so much baggage coming in.
Yes, and then you have your triggers that you don't really know are there for the other person until you step on them. That's the thing about conflict at first in a dynamic with a relationship. You got to hear this. Just because you had a blowout argument with somebody you care about doesn't mean the whole thing needs to be over. Use discernment and really know what your non-negotiables are and your boundaries. But you stepped on a landmine and you didn't know it was there. And it's like, oh, snap. And it's until, we learned in premarital counseling and even in counseling in our marriage about the red zone. Yeah. And about the green zone and how it's probably not the wisest thing to try to have a moment of conflict while we're in the red zone. It's like once you've been triggered or, you've already been so emotionally stimulated where you kind of only see red because you're fuming, to use your depiction with Inside Out. That's not the moment to try to have a reasonable, logical conversation heart to heart. You want to get back in the green zone. So that language is helpful. And I feel like at first, we would trigger one another, and I own this because I wanted to resolve the moment.
Yeah, just get over it. Yeah,
a problem or a lingering, tension or an unsettled dispute or disagreement. I'm like, let's just agree to disagree or speak about it and then move on. I want to just go. I had trouble sitting with. Therefore, I had trouble sitting with you.
Right.
And feelings. And so at first, I felt like my conflict approach was rushed. It was a little bit surface and not as careful. And thirdly, I just wanted to be as logical and as little emotional as possible.
That's what I was thinking.
That's how I would categorize my conflict approach.
You would say you're logic first and I'm emotions first.
Yeah, like in my being and my like fight or flight.
Right.
If it was emotions or logic, I would be logic first. Yeah.
And I'm more emotions. Sure. So while you're talking to me, instead of me hearing what you're saying, I'm feeling what you're saying.
Man,
and then
I hope
I'm
y'all are taking notes while you're driving. No, not while you're driving.
Not while you're driving.
Yeah.
You get there safe.
Yeah, get there safe.
Get there safe, please. But
that's good.
I would communicate and I say, and I'll tell you, well, this is what it sounds like. And you're like, girl, it's not what it's supposed to sound like. It's what I'm saying. Like, it was almost as if I had to learn to believe you in the beginning and not believe kind of what you're making me feel, because at the end of the day, again, our first year of marriage was really hard because we had so many outside situations affecting our inner kind of life. So most of our arguments were dumb and they were really not about us.
Yeah.
So it's like we weren't going to get anywhere. It was literally nothing. Like we look back and we're like, are you joking? We wasted so much time and energy and shut down. And
because it wasn't about that. I think we used those surface circumstances to like fuel our arguments.
Yeah.
But I think if we look back and really analyze, I think if you do the same, you would realize it's not about that thing on the surface. It's about the thing beneath the thing.
Right.
Like it wasn't that Manny didn't do the dishes that day. It was that Manny hasn't seen me and like, this makes sense. It's a bad example, but that's what I'm trying to say is like, there's always something deeper. And I think unless you mature in conflict, you will never go past the surface circumstance.
Right. Well, talk to me about what you taught me early on about how you receive love. Because, if we're doing conflict right, you're able to receive my love.
Yes.
You're able to see past that and see that you love me regardless, that you're not going anywhere. Which again, when you're coming to a marriage or a relationship with so much, pre-assumptions, right? Assumptions, those things can be filtered so fast, especially if you're a kid or if you're a person with trauma or with trauma background, where you're like, okay, the moment he says this, then he's going to leave. Like this abandonment, fear, and all these things that come into play. Talk to me about when you realized, and I don't know if it was in the beginning of our marriage or like you just always knew that respect was really big for you.
Yeah.
And that's the way you receive information in the most positive way.
Yep. No, yeah. Pretty early on, I mean, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. We all love each other. I think as kids, you always disrespect each other. But I think for all 3 of me and my siblings, we knew like in our teenage phase, like, man, like respect is big for all 3 of us. Mm-hmm. And so we have high respect for our mom.
Yeah.
We worked hard. So yeah. And I was always like a person of influence, like through high school, like as a young person, I just realized that the filter through which I receive love is through like respect. Like if you love me, that means you respect me, and not like fear me, but like there is like like I don't I won't play certain ways. I will play this way, and I just I don't really enjoy being spoken to in certain ways.
Right.
And so I knew that going in. So in moments of conflict, to answer your question, I'm like, okay, if I know if I get really hot and I rush you don't feel loved in those moments. And that's what I want to do. I just kind of want to rush the moment to be done. And I know for me, if you are sharing your piece and if you're calling me out of my name because you're in a moment of feeling like intense, or you're like trying to teach me something in a moment instead of like trying to explain what actually happened. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not a kid. What are we doing?
Yeah. And I noticed that early on, like, again, I wouldn't call you crazy names, but I'll be like, oh, you're being dumb or whatever. Or like anything will come out and I would just notice your whole demeanor would change. And it will be like this defense because you weren't feeling respected anymore.
Yeah.
And it's important. I mean, I know men, would you speak on like, for men, that's something that
I think that's fair. I can't speak for all men, but yeah, a lot of the men that I know and do life with, that's a big like filter, love language is to be is to be loved through like respect and that kind of care.
Yeah, and let me be clear. Everyone should walk around respecting each other.
Correct.
Like you should never walk around,
Correct.
or especially with the people that you love, trigger them on purpose. But we're talking about the first year of our marriage, trying to figure each other out, trying to learn how to love each other, but also trying to learn how to do conflict correctly. Yeah. So with me, it's love first. Manny, it's like kind of like you're about to feed a bear and you're like, here you go, bear. Like, you're safe, I'm safe, we're a safe person. Like that's the way that I felt like I wanted to be approached, because my entire life, I was never approached that way. It was more of an intensity. Yeah. So anytime I feel kind of intensity, it's like I match that energy.
That's good.
And it was never on purpose, because again, I married the love of my life and I never wanted to disrespect them. But when I wasn't met with love first, which is not easy to do, especially when you're arguing or when you're mad, like, that's a lot of self-control on your part. And again, we've matured and we've grown and we realize it's time of place. It's not like in every situation. It's just like those moments, especially moments where I didn't feel seen or loved, or even myself felt disrespected by other people or family members or anything. It was more so, man, I just kind of want to feel like I'm like you're my safe place, and that you really just want to care for me with a tenderness. And then I feel like my view and the fence is just so low. Yes, it's like lower.
Yeah, I think that's good. So when you say the love approach, I think you're saying like nurture, because when I say respect, I still mean love. Like,
for
that's
sure.
Your point. Love is both, but you're love in a nurturing way of like, hey, I got you. Like,
even in the words you say, hey, baby girl, like that, things that. So I grew up just so different, and automatically, like in the first few years of our marriage, I'm like, oh, he's mad at me. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's mad at me.
He's that old software, like
my old software. Yeah, it's like, oh, he's mad at me. He's never gonna come back. Like all these things that are not healthy.
Right.
And thank goodness. I know you briefly mentioned therapy, but no, therapy really helped us in the first year of our marriage, because we literally were like going like this to each other, pointing at each other, when honestly, it was never each other, right? It was like literally like, okay, it's this silly thing that we had no business having to dig deep for that really surfaced this intensity in us.
I tell all my guys this, that I walk with. This is the key to conflict. And it's not easy, but it is the key, is to stand with your partner in weakness and point out their strength. It is so much easier.
That's fighting fair.
Preferred to do the opposite. I want to stand with you in strength and point out your weakness, because in your strength, I feel like, yep, look at my man, look at my girl, like I'm good. And then get better. And can you get better in here? That's the lean that we have, because the better our spouse is, or our partners is, or our friend is, the better we feel about ourselves. But a true advocate, a true champion, a true friend, a true moment of conflict that bears fruit actually stands in weakness, and points at strength. That's how we get out of our funk. That's how we get out of our hole. So we want to reframe conflict for you. Conflict is not a bad thing. Like, we got to just say that louder for the people in the back. Conflict is not a bad thing. In my premarital sessions that I do with couples, Saving Marriage Before It Starts is like the SYMBIS curriculum that I use. There's a quote on there that says, conflict is the price you pay for greater intimacy.
And it's true.
Healthy conflict, that is.
Yeah.
Healthy conflict is the price you pay for greater intimacy. So to wrap, I want to just difference between healthy conflict and negative conflict. Conflict that we're saying provides growth and beauty and intimacy, and conflict that's detrimental. Give me one of each. So like for healthy conflict, we are nurturing in our language.
Yes.
So we're not speaking outside of our names.
Right. Never.
Right. We don't need to have a moment of conflict. You don't have to name call somebody or speak harsh language. Okay. Secondly, the tone. That's hard, because I know we got, like, later in our marriage, we started saying, I'm not screaming, I'm just passionate. And then trying to find what the tone is for that. Like,
and this is prior to kids. I feel like we've gotten so much better with kids.
My word,
we laugh at so much stuff. Like when's the last time we've had an argument?
I don't know. Oh, we disagree regularly.
This morning, honestly.
But what was it this morning?
I asked you to go make the kids lunch. And you said, nope. And I just started to laugh. I'm like, but go make the kids lunch. And we're like, no, I got a schedule and I got to stick to it. And it was so silly.
I
and
had
I'm
7 other things to do and I forgot 2 of them during it.
But it was so funny because that would have triggered me, but I would have been like, hey, why don't you want to made it something that does not, but we know each other so well now that it's so funny to me.
And this is the beauty of conflict, that because we've done conflict well for so long
Yes.
now, not perfectly,
No,
but well,
we
we no longer feel like we got to defend ourselves.
Yeah, no.
This is the key. When you feel like all stirred up and it's like, well, if nobody else is going to defend me,
I'm going to defend me. Yeah.
And so in the moment of conflict, instead of getting to the heart of the issue, you're breaking each other's hearts. And that's the
right.
issue. Because you're like,
Yeah.
I got to defend myself. So, and how do I defend myself? One, I want to stop the attacker. So let me hit him in the heart where it hurts. I'm going to use the information that you gave me as a good friend or a partner, and I'm going to use it against you. And that's why when you were young, in a moment of conflict, we used to do that.
And
like,
can you imagine doing that now?
I'll cry.
No,
It'll
me
break my
too.
heart.
I'm like actually getting a little emotional
But
about it.
I feel like our people are, this is the brave talk. Like,
I know.
This is, like, brave talk sometimes requires some hurt and pain.
Yeah.
But it should not be at the fact that we were trying to, tear each other down. It was just the cost of derooting the ugly that exists in us.
Yeah.
We all have
The
sin
sinful
and
nature
ugly in us. And it hurts to, one, be called out on it, and 2, do the work of getting rid of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, honestly, babe, like don't make it past that.
Nope.
First,
Marriages fall apart, friendships fall apart.
I've seen it happen. Yeah. And you know what's cool? That I feel like we've had mentors in our life who were very honest with us and who said, hey, this is not healthy. Like, this is what you guys need to do. And also, we're transparent about their own marriages.
Yep.
And they were like, honestly, guys, you have all these other things. You moved here, you changed your name, you had all these stressors affecting your marriage. Just give it some time. We've never split, but our actions were very either me walking away or you're saying things. They were not depositing trust. Remember when we used to say that? To deposit, it's like a bank, right? You're constantly depositing trust in your marriage, in your friendships, in your family. Like, you just don't build that out of nowhere. Like, this is the price. And if I would do it again, although that first year was so intense, I would do it over and over again to have what we have today.
Yeah, that's so good, babe.
Yeah.
I know there's a Bible verse about it you could read.
Yes.
But I want to say, like, when you feel like you're about to have a conflict in the workplace with a friend or whatever in your life, and you are conflict averse like Marlene used to be, and like a lot of people are, like, there's nothing wrong with being confrontational or conflict averse. What's wrong is what you do about it.
Right.
Like, if you're
Don't go talking about it.
This is what we're about to say. If you are super confrontational and you're like a kicker of the door, let's talk about it right now, super intense, that is not good. That is unhealthy conflict. And on the
Read
opposite
the room,
end,
bro.
Yes,
read the room.
Correct. On the opposite end, if you're like, oh, I got to have this conversation with this person, but I can't do it. What are they going to say? And you start basically having the conflict with yourself and then projecting the conflict on the person. You basically argued with yourself, pretending that the other person was arguing with you. And now you're going to approach the conversation, because you got to do it at some point, with all these preconceived notions and built up dialogue that the person never even had yet.
And honestly, the third
one,
one,
assume something of the other person before they even talk.
Right. And honestly, the third one speak about like talking about it to everybody
to other
else.
people. You don't go to the person, you talk to other people.
That is heartbreaking.
Oh, that's brutal. And that's like that's gossip. That like opens up the door for the enemy to really play you.
That
like,
is brutal.
You played yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. That's what happened there.
That
Congrats.
is brutal. It is.
And it's common. It's brutal and it's common because
especially in friendships too.
Yeah, and like a cancel culture. Like we almost like, because this is it, my gosh, because we're so afraid of paying the price of good conflict, because it comes at a price, we would prefer to cop out and do the cancel culture work. It's like canceling somebody.
It's easier.
Oh yeah, it's the conflict aversion lean. It's like, instead of actually telling this person how they made me feel and how they hurt me and actually trying to find something and move forward, I'm just gonna cancel them.
Yeah.
I'm quick to cut people off. Why? Because you're hurt and you're scared, probably.
And girl, yeah, like do the work.
And we're not saying keep everybody in your life, have a bunch of friends. We're not saying that. We're saying even when you cut somebody off, like, there's ways to do it in a way that bring you closure and honor the person.
Yeah, and it's work. Relationships require so much work. And now in my 30s, I just feel so much more confident about that.
Yeah,
like,
because you have more tools and you have experience and you've put in the work.
Yeah, and I love, honestly, communicating with my girls and my friends, like it brings me so much peace to be able to be like, yo, let's just get over this and move forward. And I've seen so much fruit in that.
Last thing I'll say before you read that verse, like imagine if like God canceled us, yo.
No.
Imagine if like we canceled each other. Like if we said, okay, now we're done. Imagine if like my friends, like I have bros that I've been journeying with for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like praise God, and ups and downs, hard times.
Same.
Like thanks be to God that like we said, you know what, we're going to choose the harder way, the narrow way of conflict onto resolving this moment so
instead
that we
of
could grow and
just
move forward.
Avoiding it.
Like I just want to say, like, for those of us that enjoy conflict aversion and canceling people, you ought to be grateful that you haven't been canceled yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the verse?
Yeah, so I love this verse. Matthew 5:23-24 says, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. It's one of my favorites.
Wow.
And God has used that verse so many times in our marriage. Like, I know you're trying to go do something special, whether
something for the Lord,
preach or whatever.
Yeah.
You better go talk to your guy, because that's a real sacrifice right there. And God has told me there's been many times I've had to leave my gift at the altar and just go reconcile and be besides myself. And there's times I haven't done it because I'm not perfect. And it's not that I was able to reap the consequence, but I did realize that my heart was just not
so good,
soft.
And that's the gift
and I don't want a
us.
heart or stone.
Right.
I want a heart that's soft and it's able to receive and also feel what God wants us to feel.
Wow. Leave it there. Leave the gift there, whatever it is. Your love for the Lord, your offering of like service or of bettering stuff. This is why God says 2 great commands. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength. And then love your neighbor as yourself. You want to talk about sacrificial love and conflict done well? Treat that person the way you want to be treated. Love them. Give yourself up so that they feel actually what you are wanting to feel.
Right.
And if they're a good friend that's walking in that same way, they'll do the same for you.
They'll do the same.
Because
We've seen it. I've seen
if I put
it.
you first and you put me first, nobody's last.
No.
But if I put me first and you put me first, then you're last. Nobody's putting you first.
What is this? A hand hug?
Man, we could talk a lot about conflict, but we'll wrap here. Here's your brave step this week. I know conflict is hard, yo. And we've spoken in the last few minutes about the dynamic in our marriage, as partners, in the workplace, in friendships. Conflict is so darn hard. But we hoped to reframe conflict for you so that you can see that conflict is not a bad thing. And you should remove the negative connotation to it. Conflict is actually a gift. It's a pathway for breakthrough and greater intimacy with somebody. It just depends on how you approach it. So this week, if you've had a conversation that's been looming, a conversation that maybe requires some conflict, some friction, some disagreeing, you know that person, don't speak for them. Your brave step this week, go and have the conversation. You can't control how the other person reacts. You can only control what you deposit. So deposit love, be patient, be a good listener, but be truthful. Don't speak about the person, speak to the person this week. And that's how you do conflict well.
Yeah. And spend some time just trying to figure it out for yourself. Because there's some things that, honestly, it might just be you that you need to address within yourself. And then you can come to a place of less defensive and more of, hey, this is what I'm feeling and how can we move forward?
So good. Yo, we love you. See you on the next one.
Peace.